Hello. Hey, you guys. I'm trying to add the coach, but I don't see, I don't know how to do this shit. Lord, this is my first time trying to add somebody on the live with me. Okay, there she go. Is it connected? Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Will you go live? Okay, like let it go live. Like I don't know what the hell this is doing. Why is it not doing anything? Yes. Hi. You guys, we're going to be talking about coins.
Queen.
About coins, right? Hi. Hey,
Hey,
Queen. It's so nice to finally meet you.
nice to meet you too. You're so pretty.
Oh, thank you. You too.
Oh,
Yes, girl. Yes. Like
listen, and it is hot in Florida right now.
oh,
Oh
my
my God,
gosh. Is that where you are?
I am.
Okay. Okay.
It
It's kind of
is.
warm up here, too, but it's not too bad. It's like a really nice spring day. I got my big window open, enjoying this breeze. Ready
Listen,
to
I
learn
am
some
like
shit.
this. I'm like, you can't put jeans on. You can't put nothing on. It's just hot. But it's okay. It's good. I'm pulling up my stuff on my laptop now. There we go.
Okay,
Boom.
cool. Yeah, I'm so excited to learn some stuff and share information with everybody. Stuff is so crazy right now.
It is. The thing is when you deal in finance, you project these type of things, not Corona, right?
Uh-huh.
But you do have some type of projections where you know when the market's about to make some changes. So majority of my clients, I try to prepare them for this, what's happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
But no one knew it would be to this extent. So it is a lot to take in. Absolutely.
Okay. Well, we can get started with you
Okay.
telling everybody your name and about your business and stuff.
Absolutely. My name is Miranda Johnson. I have been a financial coach since I started in about 2015. My company's 5BG Path to Realty. I started as a real estate agent, and I was actually in Atlanta. I worked with Palmer House Properties in Atlanta, and I was running into quite a few people who wanted to buy property
Mm-hmm.
and had no idea what the path was. And I was finding out that banks also were steering people in the wrong direction on how to fix their credit or just like, and so I started my program based off of just us being taken advantage of.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this is enough. So it really, 5EG Path to Realty started as a company called Graduation to Good Credit. So it stemmed off of just teaching people how to understand their credit, how to understand how to save money, and then it has now blossomed into the emotional triggers that cause us to overspend.
Mm-hmm.
So that's now the basis of my program, and then we get into the money part.
Okay, cool. So you gonna hook us up with everything.
Yeah.
You got all the tea, all the real tea.
Yes, yes. So it's real life stuff, and everything that I'm coming from is a lot from my personal experience.
Mm-hmm.
I went through foreclosure, bankruptcy, liens, divorce, multiple
Girl,
kids,
like who has it?
right, right. So I was that girl who went to the bank trying to get loans and trying to get back on her feet, and it was just no, no, sorry, can't help you, not gonna happen. You gotta wait. You know what I mean? And I'm fixing my camera. I was given a lot of advice that was not good advice.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to teach myself. And then the emotional things that I was going through caused me to compare myself to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at, what does Kelly have? Why is Kelly over here, but I'm struggling over here?
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know how to stay in my lane.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So everything.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like we're always saying, well, my kids don't have this, so I'm gonna give them something that I really can't afford to satisfy that emotion. And I didn't even realize that I was keeping myself from the goals.
Mm-hmm.
So
Definitely been there. Girl,
Yeah.
I was a teen mom. Trust me.
Yeah. Yeah, I was too. I was too. I was 16 when I had my first child. And by the time I was 26 years old, I had 4 kids. And I was married by this time, but I thought I knew and I had no clue.
Girl, same here. I had
Yeah.
my son when I was 14, and I had
Oh,
my
wow.
daughter when I was 20. But, you
Okay.
know, God willing, girl, I came through with the
You're
college,
right
graduated
behind
high
me.
school, did all that. But at the same time, you know, we still make mistakes. And
I'm gonna switch
you
this.
can never have enough good
Boom.
financial advice to, you know, get on track. And especially with all this madness going on right now. It's like, okay, what can I
Right.
do? You know, there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there who need financial advice. And there's
Yeah,
crazy stuff
yeah.
going around. And it's like, okay, what should you try? What should you not? And then, you
Okay.
know, the stock market, definitely have questions about that because
Okay.
a lot of people
Let's
are investing and this market is dropping and it's like, okay, what do we do? Where do we go
where
from
do you
here?
go? Right. And
So
those are
that's
the things that, I'm here for it. So whatever your questions are, I'm here for it because I think that I've done a lot of so I do a lot of one-on-one coaching. So most of my clients went on one-on-one level, but now we're branching out to do more group classes.
okay.
So people can ask, and I do have a business development course. So it actually that is one-on-one to help people when they're in entrepreneurs. You'd be surprised how many people have an LLC and don't really know what that means, and they're just creating companies, but the company is not really structured properly. So yeah, let's get into the meat of it. I think that this is what a lot of people are ready to hear. So,
So
yeah.
where do you want to start? Stocks?
Well, hey, we can get the stocks.
Okay. Okay. Since the market is dropping,
Yeah.
people have invested. What should we do? Should we pull out? Should we invest more?
So here's the thing with stocks. Stocks are always, in most cases, always the long game. You're always playing the long game. So if right now you are in a financial situation where your job is not essential, right? And you don't have 3 to 6 months of savings set aside, you really should not be looking at investing in stocks right now. You really should be holding your money and putting some money in savings. The best thing at that point would be putting some money. Now, if you have at least, I'd say 3 months set aside or some cash set aside where you are, or maybe you are an essential worker and you do have that, then you want to look at buying shares. And basically what that is, and what I tell people is this: buy what you use, buy things that you know about. You know what I mean? Don't go in a stock or invest in something that you know nothing about that company. You're just kind of doing it because somebody said a name, right? Right now, we can use some common sense. Let's use some common sense in investment. Okay, one thing we're doing right now is we are using Instagram, right? You may use this and you may record it and then you may send it to the cloud. You may save it, right? Cloud-based programs would be a smart investment, okay? You're looking at Zoom. Zoom stock went through the roof. Why? Because now we're all at home. Right?
Is it though still? Because you know they been getting hacked.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Zoom is one example, but there's companies like WebEx. There's Virtual Assistant. WebEx has been around for a while, and their stocks are pretty reasonable still.
Oh wow.
So if you're looking
I
at
saw on the news this morning, they sold out like of all of their webcams of every model.
Yep. And there's Logitech. That's another company. Those are the phones, the headsets that are used to work from home. Logitech has been around for years. They're a great established-based company. I always tell people, use common sense in investing. Again, buy what you use. And yes, it's okay to buy in, but you do need to look at the long game. Don't think that you're going to buy today and then the minute Corona goes away, you're a millionaire. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You're going to have to know how to hold it. You have to be okay with letting that money sit. As far as 401ks and things like that, that's a part of stocks, right? Again, same thing. Pulling out now is not the smartest thing unless you are in a dire situation. And right now they're not charging any penalties. They actually have held off on penalties on pulling it out.
No.
So if you are in and I mean a situation where you know, you didn't have that 3 months set aside. Your landlord is saying, I don't care, I'm still collecting rent. You know what I mean? Like if you're in that type of situation, you can't push anything off. You can't push the car note, which you should be able to put your car note off. Most of all car companies right now letting you at least do 2 to 3 months without a penalty. So if you have no way of pushing anything off and you're just there, but still don't take it all out. You know, if you have to, and I mean dire situation. Dire does not mean I need groceries just for these next 2 days.
Oh, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Okay, cool. So, look, somebody had a good question about
Sure.
Foreclosure. I don't know if you see it there.
Let me see. Foreclosure. I didn't see the question.
Is it better to buy a foreclosed property than other property?
Oh, so you know what? It depends on the market. And right now, first of all, it depends on what city you're in too, because you could be in a city that their foreclosures deals and the amount of work that you have to do in them may not be the best investment than just going ahead and buying something that's what we call just a fixer-upper. Or something new. So it also depends on, are you trying to live in the property? Are you trying to flip the property? You always, when it comes to real estate, you have to do the numbers. You really have to know what that number is that you're looking for. So for instance, let's say that you're trying to use it to live in, and you find a foreclosed property in an area that is typically $250,000. You find a foreclosure in that area for $210,000. Okay. Now in that situation, you've got about $30K worth of equity, right?
Okay.
In the property, because what did I say? 250, so $40K worth of equity, right? So in that situation, you may say, if it only cost me $10,000-$15,000 to fix this property up, I still have a good amount of equity in it, right? Now, if you're in that same neighborhood and that property is $230,000 and it's going to cost you $30,000, you get what I'm saying? To fix it up, to make it even close to what the other ones are, then no, it doesn't really make sense, right? So foreclosure does not necessarily mean cheaper. And let me tell you something, in foreclosure bids, you are usually competing with other banks and nonprofit agencies.
Wow. Okay. Well, I guess that answers that.
Yeah.
So, but what about sometimes I hear these things. Now, I'm by far no expert on none of this.
That's
but
okay.
I've heard stuff about real estate where there's like you can get into it without having a lot of money to invest, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
So tell us a little bit about
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So there's ways, and I am a real estate broker too, so don't I won't get myself in too much trouble, okay? So absolutely, yes. Follow the guidelines, okay? Don't get in any trouble. Don't misrepresent your situation. But there's FHA loans and there's conventional loans, okay? FHA guidelines say that if you are buying a property, you have to live in that property. And they want you to, you have to sign something that says you will be the homeowner. I think it's like 6 months to a year. They do change that, so you have to read that. So if you buy FHA, which most people do because it's only like 3.5% down, right? If you are buying an FHA loan and you're trying to flip it or rent it, you can't legally do that, right? Now, if you buy a conventional loan, which is about 3% down right now, so that's lower than FHA.
Okay.
You could get into a property and within 30 days, you can rent or flip it. Sometimes you could do it sooner than that, depending on it. So yes, you could get into that. You can find a property and deem yourself originally as you're not going in as somebody who's flipping it. You're not telling them you're renting it. You're going in as the owner of the property. Now you will have to be somewhere that you live near because you have to prove that you would have residency there. Okay. So 3%, that's pretty good as a deal compared to most investments is 10 to 20%.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. Well, what else?
I'm long-winded, so you got to tell me when to shut up.
It's all good. It's okay. So, let's get into these grants and stuff because a lot of people need help right now with finance.
All right.
Especially, there's a lot of entrepreneurs, business, independent people, even music artists, visual artists like myself. I do graphic design. I'm an independent worker right now. So, I've done that on and off over the years, but I prefer to be self-employed. So if
Right.
you could tell us a little bit about some of these grants I've seen on the SBA.gov and other people.
Okay. Sure. So there's different types. Right now they have one that's the paycheck one where that basically is if you already have a business and you are trying to cover your current employees. Now I do believe that you have to have kept at least 75% of your staff to get that one. And that basically says that they'll do whatever the employee's wages are and yours, if payroll wages, times 2.5. That you can get a loan up to that amount. Okay. And they're still saying there hasn't been, because you remember the bill is out but hasn't been out yet, so we can't actually read this bill. Okay. They're saying that it could be forgivable. And with that type of loan could be forgivable. So that's saying if you have a business with employees. Now there's another type of just your standard SBA loans that can also possibly be forgivable. We don't know yet. They are still processing. So some of these will be processed for another 2 weeks. We don't know. There haven't been none have really been approved yet. But you have the ability, yes, there's a lot of loans that you could qualify for. Here's what I tell people when it comes to business stuff. Know the amount you're going for. Don't under request and don't over request.
That makes a lot of sense.
Because you can go in there saying, well, if you don't have your numbers together and they approve you, let's say they approve you for 10 grand, okay? But it really is going to take 20 grand. So now you got $10,000. What you going to do with it? Because you really need 20.
Right.
And you don't have the other half. Or if you over borrow and then you can't handle that monthly payment or whatever it might be to pay it back. So yes, there is a stronger chance of being approved for these loans because they're not so much of looking at the credit as much of the business, more of the structure of the business. And they may look at your past tax returns, of course, to see what you can. But if you're trying to do something new, for like your situation, you would most likely be approved, but be careful because we don't have the bill out yet.
Loans. I'm like,
yeah,
I'm okay with that, but the because student loan Sally Mae has.
Well, because like the grant is really going to be structured like a loan. Do you see what I mean? So it's not really, they have not decided yet that is a grant where there's nothing on it. But here's the thing.
Figure that out though, like ASAP.
Right. And here's the thing with grants. Grants allow companies in your business. You are really allowing them in your business. You're really telling them what you have to spend the money on.
Yeah, I've seen that on some of the applications.
Right. So you have to be very careful the company that you're having, especially if it's a for-profit company and you're going and getting these grants. You could easily have to owe this money back if you're not structured the way that they want you to be structured. So a loan allows you to do what you want because you're just going to pay them back. The grant, you got to be clear on how you're going to write that out.
And when you say structure, like how they want you to be, what do you mean by that?
So, for instance, if right now they're offering these grants to companies, for instance, like the paycheck one, if you can't prove that you have 75% of employees that you kept on staff, if you can't prove that you have some type of payroll, if you can't prove, that your company was already legitimately making X amount prior and had, a fall off, like if you can't show that, or that, if you come into this and you have this grant and then boom, this year you just skyrocket and you making a whole lot of money, you could get dinged on tax time for sure. They're not crazy. Listen, nothing's free.
Somebody had a question about student loans. It says, can student loans really be wiped off your credit report? A lot of credit agencies advertise it.
Okay. So here's the deal. So let me just say something. Yeah, let me say something before I say something. When it comes to credit, I like to teach the factors about credit and really like break down and understand credit. And I don't really like when people tell somebody that something can be wiped away. Okay. I don't teach that. You will never hear me say, I'm just going to delete, 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 unless that item literally does not belong to you. So the answer is yes, and the answer is also no, because here's the deal. If that loan is legitimately yours, you may be able to get an attorney or someone to go in and wipe that clean. But the question is, for how long? Will it come back?
Why would it come back?
Because what happens is, like right now, especially with everything going on, everybody's crazy. The office, a lot of staffs have been shortened, but maybe people are not paying attention as much of what's going on. Maybe when you submitted it through, your file was not in front. So they usually report things every 14 to 45 days, depending on the credit company, right? Okay. Some are not reporting until every 90 days on your credit. So you may have just caught that when they went to submit the deletion. You may have been that one that didn't get caught, and they weren't looking at your file yet. So when Equifax or whoever submitted it over, when they submitted it over, they may have went and said, oh, the dispute is good. It's in good standing. They don't see you. So then they remove it away. Now it's about a couple months later and you're excited. You got the big credit score and you're ready to go buy your house. Well, mortgage companies look at all three credit scores first off, right? And they also have a way of finding out if there was any other outstanding debts. They have other credit companies that they use. So it may not be deleted everywhere. Or
hold on, let me stop you right there. That is, I find that to be so interesting because that happened to me some years ago when I was living in Cali, and I had never been evicted a day in my life. The manager of the apartment place was being petty and put that on my paperwork unbeknownst to me.
Wow.
Get 2 lawyers to fight this case to get the company to admit that I was never evicted and that I didn't owe them any money. Money I had to pay to get 2 lawyers to fix that because of a different credit
somebody else said
that
something.
Apartments look at that I had no idea about. I'm thinking like my credit score.
Oh yeah, the apartments have their own credit.
Like I should have no problem getting approved. I've never been denied a day in my life. So, but then I got denied. I'm like, hold up, and they're like, oh, it's this other report or something. I'm like, and then I found that out about cars too. So it's like
they all have their own credit agency.
Your credit score is some underlying shit, and that irritates me. But I'm just like, okay, people need to know that. So I'm glad that you said that. But continue.
Yeah. So they a lot of times for mortgages they'll do something called a rescore. And the rescore is usually to help get your score up a little bit, or they do that to make sure there's nothing out there, or there's different reasons why they'll do it. But they always do it. A lot of them now do it the day before closing.
Wow.
And they'll go back and relook at your credit. So you could have been in the process.
Oh my God.
And then all of a sudden, that loan that you thought was deleted, now that man or whoever is going back and looking at your files, it's back because it is legitimately yours, right? So just because it gets removed, you literally have you're playing a game of how fast can I get it before they get it. Now here's the bad thing: if they're good about it and they catch it and they realize that is yours, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, they really have big problems. That's almost like fraudulent to go and say something isn't yours and then they prove that it is yours. Because when it kicks back, if they delete it and then it kicks back right, or if they dispute it and it kicks back, it can drop your score even more. So you want to be real careful about disputing things that legitimately belong to you. It is better to work with that company and see if sometimes you can make arrangements with them to say, hey, if I pay this or if I work with you on this and write a letter and I keep this in good standing, will you remove the negatives off the credit or will you remove that off my credit? Than it is to necessarily go through these attorneys. I hate to say it, there's always a reason why you get a whole bunch of attorneys and a whole bunch of people coming in our neighborhoods pushing these programs at the same damn time. And they're pushing the same You get what I'm saying? They
Mm-hmm.
coming at us real hard. Lack of education is, it can really literally destroy you. So, can you do it? Yes. Is it a good idea? No.
So that's why you're here today, to help us
Yeah.
get some education on the
I
credit.
do see another question down there. What is this? Will your program help with creating business credit? Absolutely. Absolutely. Business credit is my favorite. I like dealing with business credit way more than personal credit. I feel like if you have a company, you shouldn't be using your personal credit.
Okay.
I mean, I don't run anything through my personal. Anything that I buy now all goes to my business. Why? Because nobody can see it. But on the business side, if I go, if I own I own a trucking company as well.
Oh, that's what's up.
And we have it's based out of Atlanta, and we have another one that we're just now launching, which is a woman-owned, black-owned trucking company that's going to be based out of Tennessee.
Okay. What's the name of the company?
One of them is called 5BG Transportation.
Oh, okay.
And the other one that we're just launching is called KELLIEBREW'S Logistics.
Okay.
And that one you're just launching it. Actually, this month we'll be putting the trucks out. This 1st of May we'll be putting trucks on the road. The 5BG Transportation has been around for a while, and the 5BG is for my 5 beautiful girls. So if you ever hear me say 5BG,
I love it.
Yeah. So everything that we run it through the business credit, because obviously we don't want the trucks to be on our personal credit, because if we go try to buy a house, they're going to include that in our debt.
Right.
Business credit is very easy to use. You want to establish a DUNS number, which is through Dun and Bradstreet. Okay. Also register with NAV, N-A-V. Let me put that in the comments. Yes. So your DUNS number, which is here, so it's Dun and Bradstreet. You want to register with them. Do not go and buy all that stuff Dun and Bradstreet's going to try to sell you. I'm going to tell you right now, they're going to market you like crazy. All you want to do is you just want the profile. Okay? Don't pay. And what happens with your Dun and Bradstreet, you want to go on and anytime you do an application of any sort, you want to put your DUNS number on there. Anytime you do business credit, they'll always ask, what's your DUNS number? Anytime you start a business, you can answer what's your DUNS number, because what happens is they'll report you as a good profile for your business, right? Okay. Right. And then your NAV is a way of checking your business credit. So it's like Credit Karma NAV.
Gotcha. Y'all got that.
Yeah.
All right. So someone had another question about LLCs. Okay. How would you begin?
Okay, here we go. How would you begin to structure an LLC? Okay, here's the deal. And if you're ever trying to work on a business, your first line of contact should be your accountant. I am not an accountant. I don't want to be an accountant. I have an accountant. I love my accountant. Okay? I do not do anything or make or structure any companies without contacting my accountant. Okay. So, how do you get an LLC? Okay. An LLC starts with their articles of incorporation. You can literally go to your state and go to the state website. So I think Georgia is literally just state of Georgia, or Georgia State, or something like that. Georgia Incorporation. You can literally go on Georgia. If you're, I'm in Florida, so it's sunbiz.com. So they all kind of have their own setup. So you literally go on there, search for the name, make sure your name does not already exist. When you go to the website, it'll have a name search. You put your name in there that you want the business to be in. If that business name has already been used, then you can't use that for that state. If it has not been used, then you just literally apply for an LLC. Here's the deal. I don't know what kind of company you're trying to open. You need to contact an accountant. You need to find out if your type of business should be an LLC and what type of LLC. Because you have S Corp, you have corporation, you have different types of LLCs. You need to know why you're choosing that over the many other structures that are out there. But that's how you do it. But every company does not need to be an LLC.
That's true. That's true. I learned that.
Please contact an accountant. Please.
So do you have any like short, quick tips for us about what we can do to financially grow coming out of this pandemic?
Oh yeah, definitely. I will say this for everyone that may not be looking to start a business, right? For money right now, I posted on my page too, and it says at Coach Miranda J. I posted on there, but number one, there's so many jobs right now that are in the delivery companies, Instacart, Uber Eats, all these different companies that are out. I know in Atlanta, there's GoPuff. In Atlanta, they're all delivery companies that are paying good money for you to earn so that you can have some income coming in if you're out of work. Okay. Also for home-based businesses, I've been in the virtual world since 2001. So I always used to work from home, especially with having little babies. It was just easier for me. There is a company, and I'm going to put it in here. And I want you, if you need income now and you need to do some work from home, they do all, I'm putting in here, ratracerebellion.com. Okay. Go to that website. There's about 100 plus work at home customer service based companies. And these are not where you're telemarketing, calling anybody, none of that. These are companies that hire, they're looking for people that's like AAA, Verizon, T-Mobile, AT&T, all these different, Hilton.com are on there. American, every legitimate companies are on here. Tech support. They have jobs available, and I would say the lowest that I've seen on there is about $12 an hour, and they go up to $32 an hour.
Okay.
So I can tell you that there's a lot of proctoring testing companies. If you are any type of, even though I know we've talked about people who are essential workers that are in the medical field, but there are some medical fields that their hours have been cut short because their offices are not taking as many people in. So like a lot of pediatrics offices have been cut short depending on the situation. If you have worked in that field, look for telehealth jobs. Telehealth is basically virtual customer service for doctors.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. I heard of that before.
Right. Okay. Psychiatrists, they look for telehealth secretaries. Maybe you could be a liaison in between if you are in that field. Like telehealth work right now is booming. So for those who need that income now, if you are trying to start a business, let me tell you something. If you're trying to start a business right now and you are not at your best right now with the whole world looking at you,
seriously,
like, I don't even know what to tell you. I mean, I don't know if you really want it. Like,
right, I know, right?
Right.
Like, it's now or never. You really have no excuse right now.
Right. Right now you should be and I will say that your biggest investment is a computer, though. I know a lot of these people are using their phones to do so much stuff. I encourage you, if you have that income, to invest in a laptop. You should not be spending $1,000 on the phone. You don't have a laptop.
Oh my God. True.
Okay, because that's going to give you because these jobs, you're not going to be able to use your phone. You know what I mean? You're going to need to have that structure. I'm telling you, like, this is the time for you to be creative, to get online, to start courses, teaching. Care.com is another valuable one to use. Care.com hires people who are tutoring, need babysitters. Care.com, you can be, if you're a CNA, you can use kind of home health nurses. Don't all those things sound like something right now would be in demand?
Seriously.
If my daughter tutors on care.com right now. She makes $15 an hour.
Wow.
And she's 19. She makes $15 just tutoring. So you can literally go on there and make some, and you can come up with your own types of tutoring. Listen, I love my kids, but right now, I actually put them in a program where this lady does live performances online and teaches them how to do their live performance dance stuff online. And I'm paying her $30 just so she can come and entertain my children. So I am telling you, if you gymnastics online, put that thing, get you a mat and lay it out and charge a membership fee.
Let me tell you, I don't envy y'all right now. I don't child teenage practicing, but I'm glad my kids are grown. My son is grown, and my daughter is almost there. One more year. This year, she will be legally grown. So,
I still have two smaller ones, but it is one's 9, and the other one is 13. So they're not small, but I still gotta make sure they eat. But when I'm telling you, everybody is working.
Yeah.
Everybody in my house, except the 9-year-old, is working, doing stuff. My 9-year-old has something called Nadia Sessions on YouTube. Okay, she doing child yoga.
Girl, it's never too young to get them started. That mindset. But I want to ask you another question back to the credit and student loan stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed some people saying that when they pay off their student loans that their credit score drop. What is that? Can you talk a little bit about that?
So that usually happens because you don't have any other positive credit or any other credit on there. You don't have a balance. That's a big deal for actually a lot of people, is that they don't. That's why I teach how to look at the score and how to read your score, because certain factors. So if you ever go to Credit Karma, there's usually like 6 blocks. One will be like payment history. One will be your credit card percentage, then your derogatory, then your inquiries. Like there's different blocks. So what happens is that student loan might have been your major or your longest history of credit. So when you paid off that long history and it came off, your history may have went from 10 years to 6 months or nothing. So now it's like, I know.
I'm like, what the hell?
I know. So you have, so that's why it's credit. People don't like credit cards, but credit cards actually help. Credit, you have to know how to use them. You use them to work for you. You find ones that have points and miles attached to them. Well, right now we ain't going nowhere, but you find, but points still help, right? You find ones that work for you, and you know how to use them. So, for instance, if you have $1,000 credit limit, you don't want to max the card out at 1,000, right? Because now you look irresponsible. You look like you can't manage your credit. You only want to use about less than 13% of that card.
Okay.
Yeah. So the more, but what happens is after a while, they're going to keep upping your limit. Your 13% gets a little, it gets better. So you're not having that history, you're actually taking away. So that's why sometimes I don't recommend my clients to jump and pay off their student loans.
I have heard that. I
don't recommend them to pay off certain bills. Sometimes like, well, I want to pay my house off. Hold on, or I'm about to pay this car off. Wait a minute, because that may have been your longest standing of credit. So we may wait until you buy a house or whatever your desire is and then pay it off. So learning the structure of credit is way more important than just saying, let's delete everything. I know.
I hate it.
That's why I'm here.
I know.
That's why I like teaching about it versus just giving somebody a quick fix. Because when you give somebody a quick, number one, if I just go and delete your credit and you have a great credit score, you're probably going to get into more debt because you really did not learn how to manage your money. And you really still haven't learned how to manage your emotions as it relates to money. So until you learn your habits and how you handle it, all I did was basically give you lottery money. And then you're going to come back and probably be in even more debt or possibly even lose your home. That's happened. I've seen people lose their homes after doing some of these programs. They'll jump in, they'll get in something they can't afford because the banks, whenever we'll have to do one where I show you how they actually do your, how they look at the DTI. So you can literally be getting approved for a home that you really can't afford.
Wow. Yeah, we'll definitely have to have you back on
for
an episode of that.
Yeah.
Last but not least, I want to ask you about, the dreaded conversation that most people don't like to talk about, but wills, especially for young people.
Okay.
It's usually not the first thing on our minds when it comes to finance.
Right.
It's obviously something very important. So if you could give us some advice or your thoughts on wills.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, that is a big deal for me, for sure, especially having kids and having my mom and dad, they're older now. just making sure that they have the right things in place that don't affect me. Because a lot of people think of wills as something to give something to you, but a will can also be something that doesn't affect the people coming behind you, right? Because you can end up owing someone's debt. You know what I mean? If the will's not structured properly. So the number one thing would be having life insurance. Okay. So let's kind of go there so it makes sense. So you have your life insurance set up, 250,000, 500,000 policy. The will now structure how that money should be allocated, when the money should be put out. This is saying that you don't have any of your own money set aside. If you do, then that money will also be set up. You need a will, even if you feel like, well, I don't have any kids, or there's no one, I'm not really, what am I going to do with it? Who cares if it goes away? No, you could be leaving debt to other family members or leaving someone to get into arguments. Families have broken apart because you don't have a will. So having that beforehand is really easy. You can get them online now. You can literally just download, write them out. Very simple. Get them notarized. They're very, very simple to do. Put them somewhere in the house that, get like a safe, fireproof safe. Make sure you have one that's your home or to an attorney, or your home and to someone else. You want to have multiple copies of your will for sure. You want to make sure that your will, so for instance, if you have children and you've got a $500,000 policy, you don't want to leave your kid a whole $500,000 because you're going to set them up to fail. So you may want to structure it in the will to say they get the first amount by this age and then the second amount by this age, right? Or, you want to structure this card goes to this. That keeps people from having arguments and problems. Or this debt is paid off with this. Because they may be trying to inherit that house that they can't touch, and the banks can take it. Things like that can be allocated in the will to make things very easy. But I don't care how old you are, you need a will. One other thing I want to say about life insurance, a lot of people mess up, and you get your life insurance through your jobs. But what if your life insurance is not transferable and you get fired?
Not transferable.
So most jobs will offer you life insurance, some for free or some at a price, right? They may match it. And then when you get fired or quit, can you take the life insurance with you? Because if you've been at that job 10, 15, 20 years and you've been paying that life insurance policy and you can't take it with you, you just lost that life insurance.
Wow, yeah, that's some good information to know.
So I always tell people, have your life insurance outside of your job unless it's transferable. You need to ask that question. Now, if they're giving you a free policy, then okay, take the free policy, right? But if you go to pay for that extra money, don't do that. Because let's say you're on your way home. They just fired you and you're on your way home. Don't you know that they may not cover you? And something happens to you on the way home, they can say you no longer work for that company. Sometimes they have an immediate done the day you no longer work for them. Some may have a 15-day, some may have a 30-day, but you need to find out. And they're not always going to tell you either. I'll tell you that for sure.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Fine print. Someone asked, do you have advice to young adults seeking to buy their first home?
So it would kind of be this. I have a 22-year-old daughter, and I'm right now an advocate of, and I'm a real estate too, so of course I would love to sell everybody a house, right? But I'm more concerned about people having the money in the bank to handle the home, not so much to jump and buy a home. There is nothing wrong with renting. Rent until you can get there. But if if you're looking to buy your first home, I would again say at least have 3 months, if you can, of mortgage set aside. Make sure that if you're going to buy somewhere, have your credit score above a 680 or even in the 7s, because they're young enough they can do this, right? We can be working on their credit. Because if you do, the higher the credit score is, the easier it is to go through the loan process.
Yeah.
Just making sure that they have the money set aside, not just the money to get into the house, but the money to maintain buying the house. And if they're going, so if you're in an area with the rent in that area is $1,800 a month, but to buy a house is like $1,300 a month, then that's, yeah, of course it makes sense to buy. But if you're in an area where it's about the same and only about $100 difference, maybe for that young person, if they don't have enough money saved up, it's not a good idea for them to buy because it costs a lot of money to maintain a house.
Yeah, it does.
It is not cheap. You know, water heaters are like $1,000 off just off the rent. You know, it's not cheap to keep a house. It's not everybody needs. I really want to push us to the point where we're creating companies and we're creating longevity and we're investing in stocks and we're investing in things more than just saying, oh, I want to buy a house, because that equity you don't really make any money until you sell that house.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see what I mean? Like, it used to be you could use it as a tax write-off. That's not even worth it anymore. You know,
Wow.
but so. Yes, if that's your goal and you have some money set aside, great. But if you don't know, if you don't have a plan for that or an idea for it, I'd say hold off, depending on your age. I don't know how, because young people, she might be like me. I say young people, but I'll be 40 this year. So,
Girl, right behind you.
right. So if you're young people like me, then yeah, maybe you want to go ahead and get something.
Okay, so is it anything else that you want to share with us? I don't know if you have time to answer that last question.
So there's a really cool website. It's called U.S. Mortgage Calculator. So your credit score. So Obama actually, when he made us into law where your credit score does not necessarily affect the interest rate anymore. They can ding you in other areas, but so you could still get the same interest rate as somebody as a high score or a low score. But you may get dinged on what they'll charge you to start the loan. That's how they're charging you now. So, but there's a really cool website called, I'll put it in here, U.S. Mortgage Calculator. I think I don't know if it's .org or .com, so you have to play with that. But that's a really good website to use to figure out what your down payment could be, based off your city, based off different factors. You'll see it when you go in there. It's an amazing website. It tells you about PMI, all that stuff. It calculates all the numbers out. And it can tell you what your mortgage payment will be based off the house and how much you put down.
Good info. All right, so we're going to wrap this up. And
all right, I hope this was good for you. This was a lot. I know this was a lot of information.
No, it was so good. It was so good. I couldn't wait to share this information and introduce you to my audience and us to chit chat about something important.
There. Hey, Mama.
Hey, Mama.
She just got on Instagram. Lord knows.
Oh. That's so cute. I love the moms.
Kelly, I really, really appreciate you putting me on our podcast.
Likewise. Thank you for sharing this information with us. Let everybody know where they can find you, your websites, where
Yeah, absolutely. So it's at Coach Miranda J on Instagram. My website is www.5bgpath2realty. And I'll put that in there.
Do you have any specials going on right now with your coaching?
So let me ask you. Actually, we are about to start these group classes. I'm really excited about it. I hope I don't get in trouble announcing it. So it's called Budget and Bounce.
Mm-hmm.
We will be running, so it's going to be a segment of financial coaching for an hour and then a dance segment with Diddy Ima for an hour. And she's going to be teaching a lot of cute stuff. So we have that going on. We'll be running that soon. It's very, very soon. Right now, my courses are on promo right now. They're normally, we have a promo for $99 per month, that's the one-on-one coaching. And we usually run that as a 6-month program. And it's typically at $150, but we have it running for $99. I'm going to keep it that way for a while because of what else people are going through. I think it's just very helpful. Just keep in mind, it is just like this. Like and for the business coaching, we have that available too. It's on the website again, I put it in there, right? Yeah. Yes.
Do you do consolidation, or do
I
you
do
advise
help
on
with
that?
debt consolidation.
Okay.
We do go through that.
Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. Okay.
So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you for joining me and
Thank
coming
you for
through.
having me.
It's so nice to meet you, and we will definitely do this again.
Okay. Right. Well, I'm here for it. Well, you guys, thank you again. I appreciate it. You guys enjoy your, what is today? Wednesday? I don't even know the days of the week
I
anymore.
know, right? It's
They
March
all just like
97th,
this day,
April
that day, the other day.
97th. Right? It's all blended into one now. Okay, you
Right.
guys, you enjoy the rest of your day, you guys as well, and y'all take care, stay safe out there.
Bye.